This is the BatFlip Podcast. Now here's your host, Damien, David, and Matt. Welcome in, everyone, to another episode of the BatFlip Podcast. Damien here with Matt, and today we are going to do our 2025 All-Star Game ballot voting. We also got a couple other things to hit on. The Rays are potentially up for sale. We'll talk about the Shohei's return to pitching. We mentioned that in the last episode. He's had a couple outings. We'll go over those. And then we have a bunch of injury news and stuff just to wrap up that. But before we get into all that, Matt, how you doing this week?
Doing pretty good. Had a fun weekend. We went on a little golf trip, so that was cool. My back is kind of a little bit hurting today. After that, played 72 holes of golf in 3 days, so that was a lot. But we had a good time, and I had a very enjoyable middle of the week with baseball. Finally, as the Braves hilariously swept the Mets, but then they dropped 2 of 3 to the Marlins, so that was not my best time. But I wasn't paying attention this weekend because I was busy, so I didn't have to watch the Braves lose to the Marlins, which was not cool. But yeah, everything's been going pretty good. Damien, how have you been?
I've been good, man. Obviously I'm in full baseball swing, and I was watching the NBA Finals this last week. Sucked with what happened to Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah,
so.
that was bad.
Yeah, man. Prayers up to Halliburton. It's weird that all 3 people that tore their Achilles this year wore the number 0 in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And it's just, that. But the College World Series, that was also electric. That LSU Arkansas series was wild, and then that led to the final against Coastal Carolina, where we had the umpire show yesterday's game, and blaming the coach for the umpire losing his balance and flipping over backwards.
That was man.
What
they got
a wild time.
Yeah, a couple things. That Arkansas might be the most cursed baseball program ever.
Yeah,
I mean, that was just crazy that happened to them again. And then that ump show. I mean, they got to get these college umps under control. I mean, we talk a lot about MLB umps being a problem, but these college umps are awful. I mean, they really are awful, especially like balls and strikes.
Yeah,
I mean, it's really bad.
So the home plate umpire in the College World Series was a former MLB umpire that got demoted because he wasn't good.
Yeah, I mean, they've got to find some, at least in the College World Series or something. Maybe they can partner with MLB to get an MLB umpire or something. I don't know how they could do it, but that was a mess. So, and it's been like that all year in college baseball. Just terrible calls, and it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. All right. So before we get to the All-Star Game ballot, let's kind of go through everything else and wrap it up first. The first one we want to talk about is the potential sale of the Tampa Bay Rays. Was on Wednesday, this last Wednesday, I got to get back to it. We got a thing from Kurt Badenhausen saying that the Rays are in advanced talks to sell the club to a group led by Jacksonville home builder Patrick Zalewski, and that the parties have signed a letter of intent. Quickly followed up by Joel Sherman saying that he can confirm that was also the thing. Well, and then a little bit later that evening, we got another thing from The Athletic saying that another contender has emerged in an attempt to buy the Tampa Bay Rays. Hedge fund founder Tripp Miller has formed a group that has made an all-cash offer for the Tampa Bay Rays, and he is a hedge fund founder from, I believe, in Memphis. I want to say that's where he's technically located, but we've talked extensively on this podcast about the Rays ownership issues and everything that happened with the Trop and where they're going to go and the legal battles and this and that. So it was kind of a shock because we had talked about they had been pressuring from the MLB. There had been pressure from the MLB to push Stu Sternberg to sell. And we didn't know if it was going to happen or whatever. We get that first little inkling, like Patrick Zalewski, hey, maybe that's going to happen. He's from Jacksonville already. Is he going to move to Jacksonville? They're going to keep him there. And then later that evening, we get the hedge fund offer as well. So obviously, what does this mean for the Rays in general, like the outlook of it? But, if you were a Tampa Bay Rays fan, who would you rather have be the owner? Would you rather have the hedge fund guy who's from Memphis and might potentially look to move them, or like the guy from Jacksonville who is in Florida who might keep them in Tampa Bay?
I mean, it's so hard to say because I think I think the one thing that would be encouraging to me is if that guy from Memphis, Trip, if he pays cash for the team, I feel like he probably is more willing
Yeah.
to dump money into the team. Um, I think that there's a lot more risk to not paying cash for the team, and that would be a little bit of an issue for another group that would be coming in. I think I mean, from a Rays fan standpoint, I mean, if you're in Tampa, I don't think it's very good news with either of these moves. Um, I don't. I think the writing's on the wall a little bit with the Rays. Once their stadium, that stadium plan that they had to
Yeah.
stay in St. Petersburg was terrible. I mean, that was just a terrible idea. All they're going to do is blow a ton of money on a stadium, and it's going to be the same issue that it's been for the last 10 years, 15, 20 years, however long they've been there. Like, it's no that it might be a little bit of a nicer stadium, but it's not going to be good. And I mean, if they were to move to downtown Tampa, build somewhere close to close to Ybor City or close to close to downtown or close to the Buck Stadium, something like that. That I feel like that could go well. I mean, Tampa's a good city. It probably when it comes to the state of Florida, where you have a lot of people who have moved from other parts of the country there, you don't have a lot of people who identify with their city in Florida like you do in other parts of the country. I think that Tampa probably has the most identity of any city there, except maybe Miami. But
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many people that have moved to Florida from across the country that there's just not a lot of like local identity there, which drives people to go to their sports teams. But Tampa has a real successful story with the Lightning. They've had success with the obviously the Bucks. I mean, Tampa's a good market for sports, and there's absolutely no reason baseball couldn't work there. And I think that it's just a matter of doing it right. But I mean, I think if you look at the guy from Jacksonville, I think Orlando is on the table as an option. I know there's been a lot of interest there, and then also the guy in Tennessee, maybe he looks at Nashville for the Rays. I mean,
Yeah.
I would be shocked if that was the case. Nashville's getting a team in the near future, regardless
Yeah.
of whether they are whether it's an expansion team or a relocation team. They're going to
Yeah.
get one. And I guess the guy in Memphis, I don't know if Memphis could support it, but I mean, Memphis is close to big enough to support a major league team. I mean, they have an NBA team that's been, I mean, when they're good, it's been fairly successful. That's a big time baseball part of the country. So
Yeah.
I doubt that would be the best option. I don't know if MLB
Yeah.
would be on board with that since Nashville is right there and it's a bigger market. But I don't know. I mean, if the guy's local to Memphis, he might really want a team there and he might be able to do something. But I definitely am a fan of the Rays being sold because I just don't think with the current ownership, good things are going to happen. You're not things are not going to change for them. Now their franchise probably continue to be fairly successful as long as their front office is in charge. I mean, we're looking up here right now at the standings in 2025. This Rays team that was supposed to be not all that good. Well, they're 43 and 35. They're 2.5 games behind the Yankees for first place in the division. And they have a 67% chance to make the playoffs, according to Fangraphs. And it's like they're doing it again. We never bet against the Rays. So um, imagine if they have an owner and they keep this front office and then they have an owner that's allowing them to spend even a top 20 payroll. I mean, it would be pretty remarkable. You would definitely have some improvement there. So I'm a I mean, I think it'd be great for Rays fans for them to sell. It just kind of sucks if they lose their team there. If they,
Yeah. So I think to me, even if Trip Miller doesn't get this team, I think what you mentioned, like Nashville is going to get a team pretty dang soon with the expansion. I think that's a foregone conclusion. I think we know it's Nashville, and then we're figuring out where that second team is
Yeah.
going to go from there. Even if he doesn't get the Rays, I feel like he's got to be one of the odds-on favorites to get the new Nashville team. Then at that point, so if the Jacksonville guy is Patrick Zalewski, if he's willing to keep them in Tampa, maybe build a new stadium in the Tampa area, or potentially that Orlando group or some, just keep it into Florida. I wonder if that's the way MLB kind of wants them to go, and then they can say, hey, Trip, like, we're going to bring it on to Nashville if you want to be a part of that. Obviously, we know you have the cash for it, so that'll be interesting to watch and see how that all unfolds. So let's real quick talk about the let's go over the two games that Shohei has pitched real quick. We mentioned it last week, but they are both one innings or Jesus, like one innings. They were both one inning. He gave up 2 hits in the first one run, 0 Ks versus the Padres, and then yesterday he did another inning, 0 hits, 0 runs, 2 Ks against the Nats. Um, not they're not pushing him multiple innings yet. Plan is eventually to build him up, but um, what have you thought so far about Shohei pitching?
Well, granted, I didn't really see a second outing, but his first outing that he had was I didn't think he looked all that good. He looked rusty. I
Yeah,
mean, and it has to be expected. We talked about this last week. Shohei is not going to come back and immediately be the top 10, top 15 pitcher in baseball he was before the Tommy John surgery. Not
gotcha.
immediately. The second outing looked a little bit better. Of course, it's only one inning playing the Nats, who are they're not great. They're not as bad as they have been, but they're not very good.
Yeah,
Um, and but I mean, obviously, when Shohei comes out, he's a couple strikeouts. His stuff looks fine.
yeah,
The velocity's still there. I mean, the stuff looks good. It's just a matter of knocking the rust off, getting to where you're locating your pitches a little bit better. That was an issue in his first outing. He wasn't locating very well.
yeah.
But I think he's going to be fine. It'll be interesting to see how the Dodgers continue this rehab for him. It's good to see that he's made it through these first couple of outings without real issues because, like we talked about, just the intensity level of pitching in a big league game right away. You're not really ramping up. You're just going out there and pitching in a big game immediately that your team needs you. So that's something that was just it's going to be different from a normal rehab assignment in that way. But I think Shohei's done a good job handling it so far, and we'll see if he's able to see when they start pushing him multiple innings and see how that goes.
Yeah, I would assume he gets in multiple innings probably next time, just
Probably.
maybe 2 innings or whatever. So, but like you said, it's really been command based, which is one of the first things you kind of have to deal with once you get back from Tommy John. Like you don't really have the command. That's something you have to really refigure out. So, but like you mentioned, the stuff does look good. The velocity's there. The break looks good. All the stuff metrics on the pitches look normal. So I'm encouraged by that. But just gotta see how they lengthen it out over time. So let's go over quick other injury news notes real quick, and then we'll move on to the All-Star ballot. But a couple of different ones. We had Christian Campbell got sent down this past week. Ron Washington has some health issues and is not managing the Angels right now. He's taking a leave of absence. Chris Sale fractured his rib on a diving play in the 9th inning, trying to keep a shutout going this past week. So he's on the IL. Adley Rutschman went on the IL for his first time in his career with an oblique strain. And then a couple pieces of Reds news. Top prospect Chase Burns is slated to start tomorrow against the Yankees. And then Jeimer Candelario, who was a big free agent signing for them last year, was DFA'd today. And he has a 8 WRC plus on the season. So going through all those, what kind of stands out to you?
Well, I mean, I think the biggest thing here is the Chris Sale injury. I mean, the Braves are a team that really needs to get hot right now in order to make a playoff push. They still obviously have all the talent in the world to do that, but they just got to get going. And Chris Sale was pitching. I mean, he was pitching at that Cy Young level ever since his first like 3 or 4 starts of the year, and he was looking great. And then it's just a freak injury. I mean, the thing with Chris Sale over his career that's been so remarkable is that he did have a Tommy John surgery in there, but so many of his injuries have been freak things. And that's kind of what when the Braves brought him in thinking we might be able to keep him healthy, it's because the injuries have been so weird.
Yeah.
It hadn't been like his arm keeps getting hurt. He hadn't had like lingering shoulder issues or 3 Tommy John surgeries or something. Like he has been literally weird injuries. Like I think did he break his hand riding a bike or something one time? And I think he broke his rib another time too. Like
I
back
think
when
he
he
got
was
hit by
with the
a
Red
pitch, didn't he?
Sox. Yeah, something like that. I mean, it's just like
hit by a line drive, I should say. Not
yeah,
hit,
yeah. I mean, it's just like he's had so many weird freak injuries that I mean, it's disappointing. Man, he was looking like he might end up being able to come in and challenge Paul Skeens and and whoever else to win a second Cy Young in a row. I mean, he was looking that good for a little while there, and it's unfortunate to see. I think obviously, you hate it for Adley, but the Orioles are kind of out of it. Christian Campbell probably needed to go get some, go figure it out. Ron Washington, that really sucks. The Angels had actually been playing pretty well. They've got it back close to 500, and I don't think they've really got too much of a shot to make the playoffs. But they could have stayed hot and at least challenged for it a little bit.
Yeah.
And Chase Burns is a big one. I think the Reds are still kind of alive right now. 40-38 right now. I mean, they're kind of in it. So definitely good for them to get somebody like that back. So definitely definitely a lot going on there. And but I definitely think Chris Sale is probably the biggest thing.
Yeah, Sale's a big one, obviously. I'm really excited for Chase Burns.
Yeah, I am too. It's gonna be good.
What he's done this year in the minor leagues has kind of rivaled what Paul Skeens was doing in the minor leagues at the time. Not saying he's going to come up and have the same Paul Skeens impact, but I'm saying like it was rivaling it. So the level of what he's been doing, it's really, really exciting. So I'm hoping we see some electric stuff from Burns when he gets up here. And I'll definitely be tuning into that one tomorrow. But let's go ahead and jump to talking about our All-Star Game ballot now. So we do this every year. We'll vote this. We'll submit it. We're not going to go with as chalk as like, hey, this guy's first. We're definitely going to pick him. Like we'll talk through it and figure out who our guys are for each of them. So let's go ahead and start in the American League. We'll start right at first base. And who are you feeling here? Because I know I have my eye on one guy.
At first base.
Yeah.
So first base is an interesting spot. But I think I know who you're going to pick here. I think I'm going to agree with you probably. And Jonathan Aranda has been really, really, really good this year. I know he was your breakout pick, right?
He was.
Yeah, he's been awesome. And really, I mean, he's what the Rays, we just talked about them a minute ago, how good they've been.
Yeah.
He's kind of what they needed. They needed somebody like that to step up, and he has been excellent. You got to kind of maybe shout out Paul Goldschmidt a little bit. He's been really good this year. He's kind of been back to form. And Ryan O'Hearn's been awesome for the Orioles, but
I don't think he's listed here. I think he's on the DH side.
He's listed on DH. Yeah, he's listed. He plays first base and DH, so I didn't know if he was listed on here or not. But definitely, Jonathan Aranda is the guy I got to go with.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty easy one for me. He has one of the highest OPSs there. He's still an RBI machine as well. So let's go Jonathan Aranda. So let's stay at first base, and we'll just jump over to the National League side. And I think this one is a two-horse race truly between Pete and Freddie. I think Michael Busch has had a great year as well, but I really think it's between these two. So do you value a little bit more average or more power?
I think right now for me it's probably Pete. He's been really good this year. 18 homers. The thing about Pete Alonso is you kind of thought of him as this high strikeout guy back his first few years. His strikeout rates kind of come back down to the average level, and he hits the ball so hard. He's had a great year. I do want to shout out Matt Olson too. Matt Olson's been really good, especially the last couple of months. The biggest thing with him is that he's defensively been the best first baseman in baseball by a long way. And he's still hitting pretty well. He's been hot lately, but that defense has been pretty crazy from him. He's been a little unlucky at the plate though. So I do think Pete Alonso is the guy to go with here. I just wanted to shout him out because he's been kind of under the radar good. And of course, there's really a lot of good options at first base, but Freddie and Pete are the two biggest ones. And I would definitely go with Pete right now.
Yeah, I'd say also shout out Josh Naylor. He's having a really good season too.
Good.
I wasn't very high on that trade for the D-back side at the time, but Naylor's done a good job proving me wrong. If you asked me probably 2 weeks ago, I would say that Freddie would probably be the pick, but he's really struggled. I could see the quad hamstring injury, whatever he's got hurting him, and that ankle's still not good. And Pete, he's really, really slumped, and Pete has been a consistent guy all year long. Yep. So I think Pete definitely should be the vote at this moment. So let's go back to the American League and let's go to second base. And where are you feeling in this one? We see Jackson Holiday here at second, and we got Gleyber Torres here in the first in voting so far. But what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think Gleyber Torres is the guy here. I think he's had an excellent year. Love the plate discipline numbers. He's got a 14% walk rate and a 12% strikeout rate. He's been kind of okay-ish defender. He hadn't been unplayably bad defensively at second, but he's really hit the ball well this year. I mean, the 386 on base. The Tigers are really, really good right now. I'd pick him. Jackson Holliday's been pretty good at times, but he's struggled a little bit lately. He's down to a 103 WRC plus, and he's only got .7 WAR right now. Brandon Lau's been pretty solid too.
Yeah.
Another Ray, and he's kind of stayed healthy this year, which has been rare for him. But Gleyber Torres is definitely the guy I would pick right now.
Yeah, I think Glaber's I wouldn't say easy pick, but I think Gleyber is the pick at the moment. You mentioned Brandon Lau, I think has had a really good season. He's been on a heater recently, hitting a bunch of homers as well. Willie Castro's had a nice season, but he just doesn't play enough every day. And Jazz, he was hurt for a long time. If Jazz wasn't hurt, I think he would have easily been the pick. He's had a great season with those 10 homers, but I think at this moment, I think Gleyber Torres is the pick for the American League second base. So National League second base, say Tommy Edmonds second in voting right now, Ketel Marte's first in voting, and I think that's rightfully so. I think he's been insane this year. I know he's been hurt a little bit too, so maybe that docks him, but I mean, he has over 1,000 OPS right now. So what are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, Ketel Marte's been awesome. I mean, he's one of the more underrated players of the last several years, and it's good to see him back healthy again. He missed, he missed about 15 to 20 games.
Yeah.
But I mean, even so, he still leads second baseman in WAR.
Yeah.
In the National League. So I definitely think Ketel Marte with his 420 on base percentage and his 582 slug, he's got a 175 WRC plus right now, and none of his profile seems totally unreasonable. I mean, he's only got a 310 batting average on balls in play. Yeah. So Ketel Marte is definitely the guy I'd go with here.
It's crazy the superstar that he has really, really turned himself into. So third base in the American League now. See Alex Bregman second in voting. Obviously, he's hurt. If he had not been hurt, he probably would have a lot better at this moment. Jose Ramirez is having another Jose Ramirez season. Yep. You have a couple other solid options here. Isaac Paredes is having a decent season. I mean, the batting average from Yohan Moncada doesn't look good, but an 841 OPS, like he's been really solid. And Junior Caminero, he's 19 homers. He's that young star that the Rays had thought he was. So what are you looking at here for third base? Is it just J-Ram?
Man, this position is stacked in the American League right now. I mean, I even shout out Michael Garcia.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been awesome. And we've thought that there was a chance that he could break out at some point, and and he finally has. I think you got to go with J-Ram though. If J-Ram finished the season with the current his stats right now, he's got a 152 WRC plus right now. If he continues and finishes the season at that number, it would be his career high for a full season. He had a 167 in 2020, which was the 60 game season. So that's pretty remarkable. He's been awesome. It's crazy to believe realize he's only 32 years old. Too. He feels like he's been around forever. He's already put up what I would consider to be close to a Hall of Fame career, even if he never played again. So I think J-Ram is definitely my guy here. He's been awesome. You love to see it. He's fun to watch. He's an excellent choice.
Yeah, I'll say so far, outside of I think American League first base, the voters have done a pretty good job so far this year at picking who's the rightful person to be voted for so far. So Jose Ramirez, I think, is the easy pick there. National League third base now. You got Manny Machado's leading the voting. Max Muncy is second so far. Obviously, he had a really, really tough start to the season. He's been on a pretty big heater recently. But you have another one, like Eugenio Suarez. He should probably be getting some more votes. He should probably be second in voting at this moment. Maybe even first if you pick him over Machado. But who would you pick between these guys?
I think I'd probably go with Manny right now. Obviously Manny's a superstar, so he's been really good though this year. It's kind of he's one of those guys that's like an every other year type thing.
Yeah.
And he's been awesome. I would probably say Matt Chapman would have a chance too, except that he's been injured some. Yeah. He's missed a couple weeks. Obviously his offensive numbers aren't going to be quite as good as Suarez or Machado, but they're still really good. And they're also like, I mean, his defense is insanely good at third base. So that's definitely somebody I would keep an eye on. And he should be back fairly soon from his injury. It sounds like, he's maybe a few weeks. But yeah, and then I think you got to go with Manny though. I mean, he's the superstar. Suarez has been great, but I mean, I think Manny's the guy.
I think it's Suarez, man. I think he's got an 890 OPS. He has the 25 homers. He's got more RBIs. And honestly, Manny to Suarez's defense hasn't been that much different this year. Like Suarez has been a pretty solid defender this year. And I get Manny's the superstar, but I mean, what Suarez has done with hitting for power numbers, he's been driving in the runs.
Yeah.
He has the higher OPS. I mean, I get Manny's batting 305 to 250, but defensively it's pretty similar. And I think Suarez has had the better offensive output season.
Yeah, I mean the thing that holds me back just a little bit on it is that Manny's on base percentage is about 45 points higher right now, a 368 to a 321. And also, Manny's quietly had a good base running season. He's got 8 stolen bases. His metrics have graded out well running the bases. And Suarez has been pretty atrocious running the bases. So it's really this one's really even to me. I mean, both of these options are really good.
I guess my argument would be you pointed out on base percentage.
Yeah.
On base percentage is also involved in OPS, and Suarez still has a higher OPS.
Yeah.
Even with his on base deficiency there because he's doing such a good
stuff. Well, yeah, he's had a lot more power. I don't know. Sometimes for me it's hard to separate too what's sustainable and what's not sustainable. And I don't know that Suarez is going to continue the home run barrage he's been on. It is a All-Star game, and you kind of have to judge it off of what's happened so far. So either way works for me. I think they're both really good options. I probably prefer Machado on this one, but I think you could go either way. So
we'll go chalk there
Suarez. If you want to pick Suarez, you can pick Suarez.
I think Suarez should be the vote, but I'll defer to Manny here because I don't know, because I guess he's the bigger name.
Yeah.
So let's look at shortstop now for the American League, and we got Jacob Wilson and Bobby Witt 1 and 2 so far, which is crazy to say that Jacob Wilson is having as good of a season, especially the power numbers wise.
Yep.
But I think far and away, I mean, Zach Neto's had a really good year as well. JP Crawford has had a decent season. But man, what Jacob Wilson is doing, I think he's pretty easily the pick here.
Yeah. I want to mention Jeremy Pena. Yeah. He's been absolutely phenomenal this year. He's already got 4 WAR. He's got a 149 WRC plus. I think he probably plays a little bit better defense, which that's a big deal at shortstop. Stolen 15 bases. That's been awesome. Jacob Wilson is awesome though. I really like Jacob Wilson. He's been excellent for the A's. The 6% strikeout rate as a rookie is nasty work. He's such a well put together hitter. Such good hand-eye coordination, and the fact that he's been able to put up, average power numbers to go along with his crazy amount of contact he makes is definitely something to look for there. I might think about Pena, but I mean Jacob Wilson's been so good. He's been maybe a touch better offensively at the plate. I don't know. It's splitting hairs again, but I think I might go Pena. He's been awesome. So,
all right, let's jump over.
By the way, both of those guys should make the All-Star team.
Yeah, they should.
So,
let's jump over to the National League now, where we have Francisco Lindor as the first vote getter. We have Mookie Betts as the second vote getter. A couple other guys having good seasons as well. CJ Abrams has had a good one. Ellie De La Cruz, obviously. Geraldo Perdomo. He plays really good defense, and he's having a solid season. And then Trey Turner again is having a Trey Turner type season. But where would you think is it Lindor here, or do we got some other guys like Ellie or CJ Abrams or?
I think it's Lindor or Turner.
Okay.
I probably defer to Lindor. The thing about Trey Turner this year that's been encouraging, if you're a Phillies fan, is that his defense has been really good. He's never been this good defensively, and that's really encouraging. In fact, he's had more defensive value than Lindor this year.
Interesting.
So it's pretty crazy. Um, so I think, and Trey Turner obviously running the bases has always been incredible. I mean, Ellie's been awesome. It's encouraging to see his strikeout rates dropped this year. That's really been his only real issue is swing and miss. And if
Yeah.
it continues to progress, I mean, he's still so young. He got called up really early. That's been awesome to see. But I think you got to go with Trey Turner here. But Lindor's been really good. I think you got to go with Trey Turner though.
Yeah, I think Ellie's having a great season too. I think
Yeah,
Ellie should be a
yes.
vote getter even over Francisco Lindor at
Yeah,
this moment. Honestly, I think Ellie would probably be my favorite for um, shortstop starting in the
yeah,
National League. But like you mentioned, Trey is also having a good year,
yeah,
and I think he deserves as well.
yeah.
So let's look at catcher for the American League, and I think this one's
Yeah,
pretty
this is gonna be
easy.
easy.
Dylan Dingler obviously gets the vote here.
Hey, shout out to Dylan Dingler on being
Yeah,
having a good start. But
he's
yeah,
having a
we
good year.
think we
But
all know Mr. 31 home runs on June 23rd as a catcher is gonna be the guy.
yeah, most homers by a catcher before the All-Star break ever. First switch hitter to ever have 30 homers before the All-Star break too, I
Yeah,
believe they said. Yeah, it's crazy what he's doing. He's legitimately in the running to rival Aaron Judge for MVP
yeah,
at the moment.
he's less than 1 WAR behind Aaron Judge, and that's
Yeah,
crazy to say because Aaron Judge has 6 WAR before the All-Star break. We're
yeah,
not even halfway through the season, and Cal Raleigh's on pace for a 10 WAR season, which is insane.
for a catcher.
Um, for a catcher, I mean, and
Yeah,
and the fact that he plays every day because he DHs when he doesn't catch,
yeah,
and I mean he's just been unbelievable this year. Um, I definitely got to go Kyle Raleigh here. I do want to shout out Alejandro Kirk, who's been really good, especially defensively. He's been insane defensively.
yeah,
Been very good at the plate too. 120 WRC plus. He's been awesome. But Cal Raleigh, man, he's incredible.
yeah. The National League side, I'm a little bit biased, but I think it's easily Will Smith as well. Near the top of the league in batting average here, high OPS, plays a ton still too. You know, Carson Kelly had a really good start to the season. He's really kind of fallen off at that point. Hunter Goodman is another guy who's having a really, really good season. He's actually better on the road than he is at Coors, which is a funny
Yeah,
stat. But
but
other guys, William Contreras really kind of fell off this year. Francisco Alvarez just got optioned.
yeah,
So I think it really just comes down to Will Smith, really.
yeah. Yeah, I mean Will Smith's been excellent. I think you got to pick him. I think guys the shout out Ivan Herrera. I don't even know if he's on the list.
I don't think he's played
Yeah,
technically enough. They have
he's played 42 games, but he's got a
yeah,
59 WRC plus and
yeah,
1.6 WAR. Drake Baldwin's another guy to shout out. He's played 51 games. He's not on the list because they have Sean Murphy on there.
yeah,
But Drake Baldwin's been awesome as well. He's got a 132 WRC plus and has been excellent defensively. He's been great. One of the bright spots for the Braves so far this year. But Will Smith is pretty clearly the guy here and right now. He's got a 171 WRC plus. It's been excellent.
yeah. So let's jump over to the American League outfield. And if you see this right here, as of right now, Javier Baez is slated to be an outfield starter
Yeah,
for the American League as voting is going right now. Obviously, we got Riley Green is second. Aaron Judge is first. There, Judge is obviously an easy
yeah,
number one there. Um, but there's some other interesting options here
yeah,
throughout this. George Springer's having a decent season. Obviously, we got Mike Trout right here. Dalton Varsho. The average doesn't look good, but OPS is pretty good. So, who else are you looking here for American League outfielder?
So I think obviously you mentioned Aaron Judge. I don't think we really need to talk about him very much. But besides Aaron Judge, I mean, how about Byron Buxton?
Yeah,
Byron Buxton's been relatively healthy this year. He's
great.
got 3.1 WAR. He's stolen 13 bases, which is something that he's kind of not done as much of in these last 5 or so seasons because he's dealt with so many injuries. He just kind of he hadn't really done a lot of base stealing, but he's been awesome. I think you probably got to look at, if it were me, I would probably look at Riley Green as the third guy.
Yeah.
Javi Baez has been a really cool story, but I do think he's a touch behind those others. Good for him on the turnaround he's made this year. I think a little bit of it might be smoke and mirrors, but he's been very good for the Tigers. I don't want to take anything away from him. But yeah, I think those top three, that Riley Green, Byron Buxton, Aaron Judge are my guys here. So they've been awesome.
I think I agree with those three. Buxton is having an incredible season. Riley Green is a guy I picked as like my MVP dark horse this year, and then Aaron Judge is doing what Aaron Judge does. So I think those are three very easily made picks there. So let's jump over to the National League, where right now we see Pete Crow Armstrong is first in All-Star voting. Teoscar Hernandez is second at the moment. Trying to figure out, third is Kyle Tucker. Fifth is Juan Soto, and fourth is Ronald Acuna Jr. as we speak right now. So obviously, I think PCA should obviously be in here with the season he's having, and especially with the defensive side as well. But outside of PCA, who are the other two that you would pick to start your All-Star game?
Yeah, I mean PCA obviously. He's been awesome. I think you got to go with Corbin Carroll. I mean, he's been so good. He's fully back to form. 148 WRC plus. There are so many good outfielders in the National League.
Yeah.
Kyle Tucker's been excellent this year. Fernando Tatis Jr. is still extremely good. James Wood has been amazing. Yeah. And I'm telling you, Ronald Acuna Jr. has only played 27 games, and he's already top 10 in WAR among National League outfielders. And he's got a 230 WRC plus right now, and it's gone up tonight because he's homered tonight. And I mean, you honestly, like, you could make an argument that should be in there right now. But it's hard to vote a guy in that's played 27 games. But so I think if I look at this, I think Pete Crow Armstrong, Corbin Carroll, and you know what? Throw in. We said we were going to make some interesting picks, and not just go chalk. Let's throw in James Wood. He's been excellent. He's got a 157 WRC plus. Pick James Wood.
I want to also shout out, I know it's a homer, but the year Andy Pajes is having,
he's been very good as well.
It's been incredible. James Wood. Juan Soto also, like, as much as we talked about early on in the year, we talked about, like, don't be worried. He's also been incredibly good recently, to get his numbers back up there. But Tatis has went through a little bit of a power struggle as well. Kyle Tucker, I think he can't go wrong there for sure. But James Wood, he just absolutely abused the Dodgers this last weekend. I think he hit 3 homers, I want to say, throughout the series, but he's been incredible. So I definitely believe that trade also, we need to mention that trade for the Padres got them Mackenzie Gore, who looks like an ace. James Wood is looking like an all-star. CJ Abrams is having another good year as well. So it's looking pretty solid for him so far.
Yeah, they missed on was it Hassel was the other guy in it?
Hassel, yeah, but
they missed on Hassel. Those other guys have been awesome. I mean, that's looking like a fleece job, especially since Juan Soto was only there for a year and a half. They didn't really get anything close back for him what they paid for him. And I mean, James Wood this year has been better than Juan Soto by a lot. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that's going to continue all year, but I mean, James Wood is a better baseball player than Juan Soto in 2025 as of the first, 3 months of the season. So, I mean, that's just pretty crazy to think about. Like, he's been better.
And I do want to show, like, Robert Hassel did make the major leagues this year with them. I know he struggled. He didn't look good in his 21 games, but in AAA, he's having a really good year too. Like, it's not like it was a guy who just completely whiffed.
Oh no, well, you're
major leagues. Like, he still made the major leagues. I mean, he's still a rookie. He's still 23 years old.
Well, so when you get a package of 4 players back, you're not expecting all of them to be successful major leaguers.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, we shouldn't
the fact that they big time hit on 3 guys as of right now, and then the one guy is probably not going to hit, but like,
he still made the major.
They hit on 3 guys. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So
So let's talk about designated hitter in the American League. This is where we did see Ryan O'Hearn. You mentioned him at first base. He's right here first in voting right now. This was Rafael Devers, but has now been traded to the National League. That makes him second in National League voting, I believe, at the moment, designated hitter, because those votes transferred over. But that put Ben Rice into second there. Obviously, Brent Rooker's having a good season. Mike Tauchman's having a decent season, although he hasn't played much. Looking back through, Yandy Diaz is having a really good year as well. So, but I think we both mentioned it in the first base spot. Ryan O'Hearn, the season he's having, I think it should be Ryan O'Hearn.
Yeah, I'm with you. Ryan O'Hearn's been awesome. I think you gotta think he's the guy here. I do want to shout out that Brent Rooker's plate discipline numbers have drastically improved this year. I don't think the results have quite been there with the power as they have over the last couple of years, but those will probably come. The fact that he's cut his strikeout rate as much as he has is an encouraging sign for his future. He's still a fairly well when it comes to being in the big leagues, he's fairly young. He's probably, I mean, he's 30 years old, but he's only been in the big leagues for legitimately for like 3 years. So, the fact that he's been able to improve in his third full big league season has been good to see. But I definitely think Ryan O'Hearn right now is the guy. 148 WRC plus. He's been awesome. So.
Yeah. National League DH. We already know this one should be Shohei Ohtani, but let's talk about some of the other guys. I don't think the vote should transfer over from Devers from there. That's a little weird to me. I know it kind of hurts the thing if they get traded beforehand to potentially make it, but that's a little weird. But some other guys, like you mentioned, Ivan Herrera is having a great year as well. That he's listed down here at the DH spot. I think he's played more DH than he has catcher for Pajes there. Kyle Schwarber is having a Kyle Schwarber type season, 24 homers, 920 OPS.
He's been better than Kyle Schwarber typically is.
Yeah.
He's been really good.
Gavin Sheets, renaissance for them, for the Padres, getting a guy on basically a minor league deal in spring training. Has come up and had a really great year. Haven Smith in a platoon there. He's done everything to have a great season. Seiya Suzuki as well. He was second in voting before Devers got there in the DH spot. He's having a really great year as well. And then Christian Yelich, he's found some of that power again, back to 14 homers this year, 783 OPS. Driving in some runs at 54 RBIs there. So obviously, I think we know Shohei's the pick here. But any other guys you wanna kind of shout out or go over so far?
I feel like this position's been fairly weak this year for the National League, other than Ohtani. Schwarber's been really good, but and Seiya's been good too. But a lot of the guys like Ivan Herrera, who have really high OPS, really high WRC plus numbers, haven't really been. Haven't played enough. I mean, he's only played 42 games. So I think that I'm definitely thinking that Shohei is the guy here, but Kyle Schwarber would be the guy if it wasn't Shohei for me, pretty clearly. I definitely think that would be the case.
Yeah. So let's go back over it so far in the American League. We got Jonathan Aranda, Gleyber Torres, Jose Ramirez, Jeimer Pena, Cal Raleigh, Byron Buxton, Riley Green, Aaron Judge, and Ryan O'Hearn. And the National League, we got Pete Alonso, Ketel Marte, Manny Machado, Trey Turner, Will Smith, Corbin Carroll, Pete Crow Armstrong, James Wood, and Shohei Ohtani. So you feel pretty good in this ballot?
I think so. There's a lot of good players in there. A lot of guys having great seasons. So should be a good pick.
Yeah, I think what I mentioned earlier, I think so far we did. I said at the beginning, we're not going to go so chalk, but I think the voters this year have actually done a pretty good job at picking most of the guys who should be in there. Like there was a couple that we kind of talked about. There's some popularity votes for sure, but
Baez is a popularity vote too. I know he's had a break up, a rebound season, but
there's some, but generally I think a lot of them were kind of right on with 1 and 2, with who should very much be them, be the starters there. So I think it's a pretty good ballot overall, and we'll definitely see. I think we get knocked down to the top 2 next week. I want to say, because I know we got the update today that told us where people are, but I think it gets narrowed down again next week. But so that's been our All-Star Game ballot.
Yep.
David is not here to do the votes this week, so let me see. I don't know if I
Hey, I
updated
got a
the.
bonus question
Oh, go ahead.
for the All-Star game.
Okay.
Who do you think should be starting pitcher for both sides? Assuming that assuming that they're able to, as in they haven't pitched the Sunday before or something. Like, just if you could pick any of them, which one would you pick?
I would pick the people that should have been pitching against each other on Thursday, and it's absolute blasphemy that they didn't do that, and that is Paul Skeens versus Turk Skubal.
Okay.
The fact that Wednesday had a rain out, and on Thursday the Pirates and Tigers played a doubleheader, and the Tigers pitched Turk Skubal in game 1, and the Pirates pitched Paul Skeens in game 2. Like, that is a blasphemy towards fans. That was just a slap in the face. Like, one of you guys could have made the different decision to put the other one in that game. So we could have got a Paul Skeens versus Tarek Skubal game. Obviously, there's some other guys like Crochet, Webb, Wheeler. They've had good years. Max Fried as well. But
shout out Jacob DeGrom.
Jacob DeGrom is having an insane year too. But
2.24 ERA.
But I mean, Paul Skeens and Tarek Skubal are the two best pitchers in baseball at this moment. Like, I think they easily should be the guys there to get that one. But I'm trying to see if this has been updated. We have not updated it. So let me go back through the stuff here and see if I can get it all. Sorry, I should have had this prepped, but I didn't think about it. All right. So we need the first one's the 16th.
Yes.
All right. So player of the day vote for the 16th went to Hunter Goodman, who went 2 for 4, 2 homers, 3 RBIs in a win against Washington. Basically won them that game himself. He got 18 total votes were on that poll. Then on the 17th, Andy Pajes won it with a 4 for 4 game, 2 homers, 3 RBIs as well in a win against the San Diego Padres. And that one got 36 total votes. June 18th then had Chris Sale won it. This is the game where he actually got hurt, where he went 8 2/3 of 5 hits, 1 walk, 0 runs, 7 Ks. And on that vote got 13 votes. Scrolling through here. On the 19th, James Wood won it, going 2 for 5, 2 homers, 4 RBIs, and a walk-off home run to snap an 11-game losing streak against the Colorado Rockies. 11-game losing streak, but it happened to be against the Colorado Rockies. And that one got 14 total votes there. The 20th, we had Christian Yelich won it in the game where he went 4 for 6 with 8 RBIs. He won it over a Cal Raleigh 3 for 4, 2 home run game. There, that one got 16 total votes as well. The 21st, we saw Ian Happ win it with a 2 for 4, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs. These ones aren't completely over yet, but we're just going to do it for the entire week to wrap it up. And then the 22nd, June 22nd, we're in a close tie right now between Byron Buxton and Max Muncy. Max Muncy went 2 for 4, 2 homers, 7 RBIs in a win against the Nationals. And Byron Buxton went 3 for 5 with 2 solo homers, a walk, a stolen base, and a loss to Milwaukee. So first, who would you rather have for that one, Max Muncy or Byron Buxton?
I think Buxton.
I think Muncy, who has 7 RBIs.
Buxton
I think that should probably be the one.
Literally did everything in that game. Like homers, 3 for 5, and stealing bases. I mean, it's
1 stolen base.
Yeah, Muncy's good, but it's kind of hard. Sometimes it's hard to pick between these performances because they're all so good. Pretty much everyone we have on these lists. There's a couple times you have a pitcher that just is like, oh my god, he was so beyond. But it's like it's hard to pick sometimes.
One thing that I have found on this poll is that people really value home runs as just a single stat and not the overall game. Like, if a guy has 2 solo homers, like, cool. But if a guy has, well, I mean, in this one, Muncy still had 2 homers and 7 RBIs, but like the Yelich game, if someone had 8 RBIs but no homers, but someone hit 2 solo homers, everyone's like, well, the guy who hit 2 solo homers deserves it. And it's like, the guy had 8 RBIs. Like,
Well,
how does that not, like, that guy
yeah,
obviously impacted the game more than 2 solo homers.
same time, the fact that the Twins couldn't get anybody on base for Buxton isn't to Buxton's fault. I mean, he did more than Christian Yelich did by him when he was at the plate. It's the guys in front of him got on base, and he was able to get him in. But
I don't think that's a great rationale. But anyways, so we're looking back at the week. We have Hunter Goodman, Andy Pajes, Chris Sale, James Wood, Christian Yelich, Ian Happ, and Byron Buxton. So out of that, who would you pick as the player of the week?
Well, I'm going to sound biased, but I'm going to pick Chris Sale because that game was insane. And that diving play he made was insane. Unfortunately, it hurt him, but that was like one of the craziest plays I've ever seen. And I mean, just it showed the dominance that he's had this year. And it was in a big game against the Mets that the Braves desperately needed to win. Now, unfortunately, we're not going to see him on this list for a while. But I guess in honor of Chris Sale, we're going to pick him, or I'm going to pick him this week.
Yeah, he sacrificed himself for that player of the week vote.
Yeah, he really didn't want Rizal Iglesias to come in the game. I'm
guess
telling
you. I'll pick Chris Sale with you there. I think I'm a sucker for a really good pitched game, and that was a really good pitched game. So we'll give it to Chris Sale. That is his first, obviously, player of the week here. Is that his first? I think that's his first mention on the player of the week vote, even in general for each player of the day. So. Well, that will wrap up this week's episode of the BatFlip Podcast. So thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know who you're picking for your All-Star game. Let us know if we picked someone wrong here, and we'll be sure to get back with you guys. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys back next week.